of a core of very sturdy columns. In this case, 24 in numbers, and which was less, of course, than the towers, which was twice as tall. And then there was 57 perimeter columns standing all the way around the building. Now the vertical columns were connected, of course, with horizontal girders for steel beams, like that. And then the floors are lined like bookshelves between the horizontal girders here and out here. And they do not carry anything, except for the people working in the offices. But the whole load of the building is taken care of, it's held up by between 60 and 70% on the core columns and the rest of the perimeter columns. I do not have a good picture of Building 7 during construction, which is showing the design. So we have to return to two pictures which I showed already in the start, namely of the towers, illustrating the same design. In this case, there are almost twice as many core columns, for once because the towers were much taller, but also because at that time this design was not revolutionary, but it was new. So the towers were vastly over-dimensioned, and 236 perimeter columns all the way down. You've also seen this picture before, illustrating this again is a core column, and the size of the column, the bottom was roughly 20 centimeters thick, and then they're thinning a little bit on the top. They were about 10 centimeters. But this is one column, the so-called box column. The perimeter columns were collected 3 by 3, welded together here, and this is the floor, which we'll take a closer look at. It'll be a little important later on. A gigantic, I don't know what to call what the children is crawling up in the playground. But this is kind of thing like that. But this is 186 meters tall, and we're talking about a football field down here. And this is what it's all about. This is the building construction-wise. This is what went down in that day. And this is what we will return to. If you're looking for answers for explanation how Building 7 came down, one place where you might hope to find an answer is in the 9/11 Commission report, which came out in July 2004. And you see these 9 gentlemen and this woman smiling to the photographer as the day of publication. I think it was 730 something pages, the report. And the point to us here is that there is no mention of Building 7. So the official account of everything what happened on that day does not mention Building 7, because according to the chairman, Thomas Keane, they did not consider it important. We will turn our hopes to another institution, namely the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is abbreviated NIST among people working in this field. And the fields that I'm talking about here is everything regarding the technical sciences and the field of technology and natural science. Because NIST is taking care of everything within standardization, measurement, regulation in our physical, basically in our physical world and in our technology. And they got the assignment of trying to explain physically why did the World Trade Center come down. And they got $16 million in 2002 to do this, which is peanuts actually, compared with many other investigations. And the first thing they did was to separate Building 7 from the investigation. Meaning, they said, we take the towers, this is one investigation, and we take building 7 separately. And they claim that they did not look into building 7 until they had finished with the towers, which they, where the report came in September 2005. But we know that they were actually working on 7 from the very first day on. But, and I can tell you about the report on the towers, but I cannot say very much good about this report. So this I will not do. Now regarding building 7, the report was repeatedly postponed. Every 6 months they said, well, it will come in 6 months. It will come in 6 months. And in 2008 they couldn't hold it back any further. So a preliminary report was published in August, and the final report came out in October. And this is what we will have to relate to, and what I will address for the rest of the first part of my presentation tonight. This is the official America's account of the collapse of Building 7. Main conclusions in the NIST report. One thing is that the structural damage of Building 7 was not important. And this has to be mentioned because in the years in between 2001 and 2008, there have been several hypotheses in the air, so to speak, in circulation as to why Building 7 fell down. And one of them was that Building 7 had been so extensively, catastrophically damaged by the collapse of the North Tower, mechanically. It was simply rotten. So it had to collapse. It was bound to collapse due to the mechanical damage, particularly on the south side. It was not true. In the previous version of my presentation here, I've gone through actually what is known about the structural damage of the south side of Building 7. But this was prior to the publication of the NIST report. So NIST is saying it itself that the structural damage of World Trade 7 was minor and not decisive. It's saying that Building 7 collapsed primarily due to conventional office fires. And this is a daring preposition. And this is why I put a mark of expression after it. Because of this simple fact that it has never happened before or since in history that a steel frame high-rise has collapsed due to fire. And this is a more clinching statement that you might think first time around. Because in science, we do experiments. And what has happened each time a steel frame has been on fire, and this has happened many times, I'll show you in a little while. Each time it's a separate experiment. The building has been on fire and it did not collapse. So when this has happened 100 times, you draw the conclusion the steel frame high-rises do not collapse due to fire. But still, this is what NIST claims. Let's take a look at some of these fires. And it was quite serious. It was really a fire. But what happens after such a fire? You call the engineering company, they come and take a look at the building, and they consider if any of the steel beams or girders have to be exchanged. But their conclusion was, and this is a quote from their report, the fire did not cause any structural damage. No steel